Well, another month has sped by and it's now the 9th of September and time for our monthly property market update to answer the questions, how's the market and what's that mean for me? In this video I'll summarise the latest independent reports, industry feedback and in-the-field intelligence from Raine and Horne's South Australian network of 40 offices. The core facts are, for the 12 months to June, the market performance has been very positive for property investors, sellers and those who bought over the period. For example, the median price for a country house went up by 11%. For a metropolitan house it went up by 14% and for a metropolitan unit it went up by 8.5%. The overall median price for a house in South Australia went up by 15%, taking it from $330,000 to $380,000 in just 12 months. Interest rates are currently stable and the current forecast is that there'll be no further increases for the rest of the year. However, I'd suggest it be prudent to budget for a small rise prior to the end of the year, just in case. The three key factors facing the South Australian property market right now are the end of the election, the start of spring, and the current property drought. Elections tend to slow market behaviour, making some buyers and sellers hold off from action. As a result, when the election is over, we see an accentuated surge of activity with a growth in the number of both buyers and sellers entering the market. The end of the election has also coincided with the first week of spring. And spring in September in particular is when we see the biggest influx of new property hitting the market for sale. All this is good news as for nearly 9 months South Australia has been experiencing a property drought. Agencies across the state, regardless of brand, are reporting that while they have lots of buyers, they have very little property to sell. In fact, they're typically describing stock levels 25 to 30% less than last year. This is because seller sentiment tends to lag behind buyer sentiment by at least 3 months. And the events of the last 12 months, including the now almost forgotten global financial crisis, the not so forgotten mining super profit tax debate, and state and federal elections did very little to encourage sellers to put their property on the market. With little stock and high demand, it's not surprising that South Australian property owners are enjoying sustained double-digit price growth, making it a good time to sell and a great time to buy before prices go up even further. It's interesting to note that the leading economists and market analysts have calculated that even with a massive influx of new property into the market, South Australian property prices will continue to sustain our double-digit price growth for at least the next 2 years, as there's simply not enough stock accessible to meet the demands of our growing population. Our property market predictions have continued to be accurate every month, and I hope you'll find the suggestions we've given you helpful so far. This month's tips are very easy because the market behaviour and results have been the most logical we've seen in 12 months. So here's the tips for September and October. If you're a buyer, buy. If you're a seller, sell. If you're an investor, invest. If you're in a rental, it's a good time to consider your long-term plans. And if you're looking to rent for the first time or are having trouble getting a rental, it's time to go to our How to Get a Rental video on YouTube for some very helpful and relevant advice. As I said, the tips this month, like the market, are very straightforward. Well, that's the indicative SA market summary for now. I hope it's been of some interest, and if you'd like more property market information, just call your local Raine and Horne office and we'll look after you. Thanks for tuning in, and until we catch up again, I hope you enjoy good things.